Hey there, how's it going? It's Natalie Bardo here, and it is feeling like a real Blogtober day, honestly. Today, I'm talking to you about traffic. So, if you've joined my free Start a Blog challenge, we've gone through all of the technical steps, and even in yesterday's video, we talked all about writing your first blog post. So, with that out of the way, it's time to talk about how do we actually get people to see our blog, to click on our blog post, and to grow our blog traffic, right? We want people to be reading our blog. We want to grow our subscribers, and we hope to, make some money from our blog through affiliate marketing or through selling our products. But none of that is possible if no one knows your blog exists. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about practical ways to grow your blog traffic. There are so many ways. Trust me, like people will tell you 10 million ways to grow your blog. These are the ones that I've found actually work and are more light on the day-to-day having to do things. Because you're a new blogger, you're going to realize that there's so much you need to do. So you want to find ways that you can grow your traffic without having to be super hands-on every single day. So if you got your checklist, you'll notice that today's session is not so much about things you need to do as it is about planning for the future. You're not just going to do one thing that's going to all of a sudden settle things like traffic for you, but you need to come up with a few solid strategies that you can continue to implement throughout the rest of this year and into next year. So I'm going to start by telling you the story of my own blog traffic journey, how I went from 10 readers a day to way more than 10 readers a day. So basically, when I started my blog, I only had my friends and my family as my readers. They were on my little email list. So if I was lucky, I had about 10 page views a day. Pretty sad, right? Like nobody wants that. But it is where you start in the beginning. So there's no shame in that. But we're going to grow. So I started to follow all the advice out there, and everyone said, hey, you need to post on social media. And yes, you should be posting on social media. But the thing that I discovered is that when I was spending all of this time posting on Facebook, posting on Twitter, trying to post on Instagram, and I was kind of on Pinterest, I was dividing my energy across every single platform. And something you should know is that when you're starting out, you really just want to focus on one platform. So what I did is when I went into my analytics, and hopefully you've installed Google Analytics, so you'll be able to start figuring out what's actually working. So if you're not a newbie blogger, you're going to want to pay attention to this tip. You want to figure out where is the bulk of your traffic actually coming from. So I discovered, and I'm going to show you, that a huge portion of my traffic was coming from Pinterest. That's when I doubled down on Pinterest. So if you're a brand new blogger, the #1 way for you to get traffic to your new site is Pinterest. I love Pinterest. Obviously, over on nataliebardo.com, I've created a whole suite of Pinterest products, and maybe you yourself have purchased one. So if you're in this group from the Genius Blogger Toolkit, you'll know that my Next Level Pin Designs course is in there. So for me, Pinterest was the thing that really took me to the next level. So unlike other social media channels, Pinterest pins have the longest lifespan. So by that I mean, if you post on Twitter, your tweet's gonna live for maybe 30 seconds. A pin has the potential to live for weeks, if not years. So I started pinning back in 2017. It's now 2 years later, and still to this day, some of those original pins that I started posting are still getting clicks. So remember, I told you when you're starting out, you're going to spend 20% of your time creating content and 80% of your time promoting it. So you're going to invest the bulk of that time into Pinterest. So when I first started, I would have one blog post, but I would design multiple pins. And a pin is just an image. So I'm going to switch to my screen to show you what I mean about traffic and picking the best places to figure out where you should invest that 80% of your time. So I'm going to show you my Google Analytics because it really just paints the best picture. All right, guys. So this is a look at my Google Analytics. And I do believe the year I've set, this is my first year roughly of blogging. And you can see from this pie chart here that most of my traffic was coming from social media. But then when I would take a closer look at this giant, 80% of my traffic piece of the pie, I realized, 75% of that is Pinterest. So that's why I really focused in on Pinterest in the beginning. So that means when you're writing your blog post, so this is one of my old blog posts from back in the day, and this post has about 13,000 shares, and it's because in the beginning, I not only designed one pin, so this is a pin is simply a graphic, but I designed multiple pins for my posts. So even though I was only publishing, like you can see here, one post a week to every 2 weeks, I was creating these graphics and I was sharing them on Pinterest. So I still do create a lot of images for my posts. So you'll see on Pinterest, it's a great way for you to get traffic, mostly because you can use something called Tailwind, which is a scheduler, which is going to help you schedule your pins in advance. Because remember, we don't want to spend time every single day focusing on things like this, but Pinterest allows you to plan ahead, so you can just bulk all the tasks together. So somebody commented on my last video asking, what is my workflow for creating content? So I like to create, say for example, 6 blog posts at a time. Then I design 6 blog posts worth of graphics at a time, and I schedule them all in advance. This way, I've got time in between those weeks to work on other things, because although blogging is about creating content, you're going to want to do other things, create products. Maybe you're going to launch a challenge like, hey, this is a challenge week. I wouldn't be able to do this if all of my time was spent creating blog posts and worrying about traffic. All right, so that's my #1 tip. Pinterest, get on there. And if you're confused or brand new to Pinterest, I really do encourage you, buy a course. And inside the Genius Blogger Toolkit, there are multiple courses on Pinterest, including one of my own. So if that's something you're interested in, I really do encourage you to check that out. So the other thing I have to say for you, so Pinterest, that's my #1 tip if you're brand new to getting traffic. So I want to show you what happened to my traffic after I got through the first year of blogging. So if you have a look here, you can see this was 2018 down here, and there's this green piece of the pie, which is 64% of my traffic is social media. And you already know that that's Pinterest. So I conquered Pinterest, and this is my tip for the not so newbies, but even if you're new, you're going to want to pay attention to this. I've already told you the power of SEO when we were talking about creating content and why it's so important to pay attention to this even from the beginning, so you don't have to spend all this time going back and updating your blog posts in the future. So there was a huge shift in my traffic between year 1 and year 2. So you can see that now SEO went from being just 12% of my traffic. This is organic search traffic. This is your blog post just naturally showing up in the search results in, say, Google, because Google's the #1, so I'm just going to say Google. And you'll notice that a huge thing happened. My traffic grew, but organic search traffic has now become my #1 source of traffic, and it's a massive leap. In just a year, it's gone up by 1,000%, okay? That's no small number. So since my domain has been around for a while now, it's so much easier for my blog posts to show up in those search results. And that's why it's important to take the time, find your keywords, SEO your posts from day 1. So then you're out there, you're on Pinterest, you're sharing it. All of the shares on Pinterest are going to help you, because every time someone pins a pin, it's almost like a little backlink to your post. It gives social proof, which also helps your blog post rise in the search results. So it's not just I'm only going to do Pinterest. You're going to focus on Pinterest and SEO. Pinterest is your short-term play. Pinterest is your long-term plan. And by that, I mean, eventually, you won't have to worry so much about Pinterest. So I know for myself, coming up into whatever is going to be the shift between this year and next year, I'm probably not going to worry so much about Pinterest, because SEO is my easy play. So if you've been around for a while and you're like, okay, how do I rank better? How's my domain? It's all about domain authority. So there's this tool, SEOreviewtools.com. It's free. You can actually just paste in your domain and it will tell you what's your domain authority. So right now I've got a 44-page authority. It tells you how many links to your site, how long your domain has been around, shares, things like that. So if you're curious about how your domain is doing as you progress, you can always check in with this tool and it will tell you how things are going. Okay, let's recap. You're brand new, focus on Pinterest. It is your easiest play. And if you've been around for a while, you should double down on SEO. And the one more thing I'm going to share is a tip and something that the co-host of this group, Marina, is a super big fan of. So Marina is a little MIA because she recently moved to the other side of the world, but you will get to know her. And her thing is all about Facebook groups, but she does it in a way that is completely different. So you know all about Facebook groups and how there are share threads. In the beginning, you can spend some time sharing your blog posts, getting people to do some reshares, but I just warn you to not get too crazy with it because Instagram, for example, is cracking down. They can tell if your post is being just liked by people in a Facebook group. So I would not really spend that much time on this because think about it. You could be spending 20 minutes a day trying to get people to randomly click on your links in Facebook groups, but what's going to happen long term? You're going to burn out. You can't do that. You need to find a way, a strategy, which you can not have to maintain it every day, if that makes sense. Let me know if you have questions about that. So I'm going to actually share a link to Marina's post. She does it in a different way that really does boost her traffic. So those are my few tips. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about is understanding the benefits of using evergreen and seasonal content. So I told you previously that for me, seasonal content gives me a crazy boost. And that's because I know, for example, my blog, It's All You Boo, is personal development. My number one thing is how to slay your goals. So naturally, when do you think people are most interested in that? It's the end of the year, beginning of the year. So very Q4, early Q1, that's when my content is on fire. Because a lot of the reasons why nobody is clicking on your content, for example, is that it's not relevant to right now. And yes, evergreen content is great, but having some seasonal content at key times for you that make the most sense, that's really what's going to help pull your traffic up. You want it to be irresistible, not just an, oh, that's nice, but it's not really the thing that I'm most in need of help right now. So you need to think about it. Okay, what is the time of the year now? What are people most interested in? So the time I'm filming this is October. So you should start thinking about your holiday, your New Year's content, because if you're brand new, it's going to take a while to build traction. So think about that. The other thing I want to tell you about is don't panic if your blog traffic is going like this. You can see, like a wave. It's just natural. There are high peak days and low peak days. Your traffic is going to make a wave. So anybody who tells you their traffic is growing like this, honestly, I do believe they're lying because naturally people are more interested on certain days. So for example, recently my traffic is going in these weekly M's. So it peaks on a Tuesday, dips a little bit, then peaks again on Thursday, then dips. And it's just M, 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 M on an upward slant, but it's still an M. So don't panic if your traffic dips. Like I said, for It's All You Boo, I don't really panic in the summer slump that we just came through. My traffic was lower than it typically is right now, but I don't panic. I just take that time to make sure I'm doing the things like creating more seasonal content, focusing on designing more pins for later. So don't freak out. Traffic goes up and down. It's just the way things are. Kind of like the stock market and the economy. Everything goes up and down. It's just the way things are. So if you're not a brand new blogger, my tip for you is also figure out what's working for you. If you're trying all the things and getting nowhere, you really need to stop and evaluate. Go into your analytics. Where are your people coming from? Maybe you have a huge presence on Instagram and maybe you want to double down on that. Maybe Twitter is your thing. Maybe you want to double down on that. I know for myself, it was Pinterest. So that's where I put all my energy. So figure out what's working. Also, look at your content. What are your top posts? So say, for example, I've got a friend, Carly, she's a travel blogger, and some of my advice to her was her best posts were written about like random cities in the USA. So I said, hey, double down on that. So look at your top performing posts in Google or in Pinterest, wherever you're tracking, and double down on those topics, because that means that's what people are interested in. And it might take you a while if you're brand new. You're going to have to blog, test things out, see what takes off, and then do more of that. All right, so take my advice. Those are my tips for traffic, and it really does work. Using my seasonal content, like doubling down, I have days in the end of the fourth quarter where literally 100,000 visitors in one day, all because I've lined things up perfectly. So a conversation about traffic is not complete without mentioning the next two steps. So if you've ever heard about a sales funnel or creating a funnel is basically like this. And it's helping you to visualize the process you take when somebody comes to your site. So when they come into your funnel at the top, they're just a random reader, and it's how you transition them from a reader to a subscriber to a customer. So traffic is how this funnel begins, but we also need to talk about things like, are they subscribing? Are they buying from you? Because I'm telling you, traffic on its own, it does no purpose, right? Like it's great to say, yay, I've got all this traffic, but I'd say to you, okay, what are you doing with it? Or even if you say, hey, I'm getting all these subscribers, and I would say, okay, how are you maximizing it? So in the next 2 days, I'm going to talk to you about subscribers and sales. So we will complete your funnel and you'll have a better idea of where to go. So if you're just watching this video and you're not part of the challenge, hey, sign up, click the link and join. You'll get my workbook where I have tips and all the best blogging tools, and I take you through the steps of starting a blog. So you're going to want to click and sign up for that. And also, if you have not secured your copy of that Genius Blogger Toolkit as yet, I encourage you, click my link and check it out. See if it's right for you. It does come with a 30-day happiness guarantee. So what do you have to lose? And if you act fast, you can get those 93 resources, including one of my courses, tons of courses on growing your traffic, how to use social media to get that traffic, and also get subscribers and sales, 97% off. Click the link, see if it's right for you. The sale ends soon, so don't miss out. Anywho, I'm just gonna quickly check to see if anybody has posted any questions for me. And I think I'm good. So if you have any questions or comments, post them down below for me. I'll be checking this video. So this is Natalie Bardo signing off, helping you grow your blog traffic. You got this. Just get started. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.